Thank you all for coming out. The city has been taking the initiative to check in with problem motels across the city, and we're here today to give an update about the closure of the Court John Motel. So we'll hand it over to Mayor to give you some information here.
All right, well, we want to first just set up where we're at today. We're on, of course, 4th Street, which is historic El Camino Real and actually part of historic Route 66 as well. And we're also right across from a legendary restaurant, Mary and Tito's. And this property has been a challenge for many, many years, if not decades. And it's something actually that I personally got feedback on from the restaurants around here and from the neighborhood. And originally we actually tried to really work with the owners. We put them in the ADAPT program. They did a good job with some basic fire code things several years ago. But after that process, they completely backslid. And they backslid so far that we're actually having to close this hotel, and for good reason. So I'm going to give you an overview of what happened, and then we'll hear from some of the folks who do this work each and every day on scene at our hotel. And a couple of points that I would start out with. This essentially has just become a hotbed for drug trafficking, violence, and prostitution. Robbery, kidnapping, and DV are all calls that we've had in this area, 940 calls within a 2-block radius. And we also know that whether it's the restaurant across the street or others, folks are expressing relief that this place is finally closed. Now, our team, of course, did what we always do, which is we make sure and take care of the residents. There were 15 people living here, and 14 of them took us up on services and to get other housing. We do want to let you know, first, I think about some of the customer experience folks were having here. The residents who were here were paying as much as $300 a week in cash to stay. And in one case, that was actually on top of a voucher. And they had been here for months, some of them years. And so we're not going to speak directly to legal issues around sort of overpayment and extortion, but in terms of like lowercase concepts of that, clearly they were overpaying. And in fact, in some cases, double paying to stay here, to live. And of course, based on all of our code and ordinance rules, that's also illegal because you need to have a permanent dwelling. You've got to have kitchen space and you have to have appropriate sinks and so forth, of which none of this facility had. So this is never meant to be a permanent living facility. And that's also because some of these units were missing toilets. There's evidence of roach infestation and bed bugs. It was absolutely inhospitable to live, which is why we're shutting it down. Now, I will also mention that, of course, this is part of a larger effort. We started with Bow and Arrow Lodge, we did Loma Verde, we did Tiwa Lodge, and then out on the west side, Days Inn and Motel 6. And as you're going to hear, we're also understanding that not necessarily the hotels themselves, but at least the individuals using these hotels in some ways seem to be connected. We have trafficking cases from folks moving from one hotel to the next, including this hotel, which is what raised it on our radar. And so we are going to continue to shut down these hotbeds of crime in our city for either code reasons or for criminal reasons. And we're going to hold folks accountable. Now, we also understand that these issues can be, again, complicated for some of the individuals that are living here. Sometimes that involves mental illness, behavioral health challenges, and that's why we very much appreciate that our community safety team was able to provide help, housing, and assistance for 14 out of the 15 people that were living here. So with more on this, let's start with our planning director and also, of course, in charge of our code enforcement actions, Alan Varela. Alan?
Thank you. The planning department's code enforcement divisions look at these properties from a condition angle. That's what we're after. We're after bad properties. That's what we focus on, and we certainly found that here. There was illegal electrical wiring, numerous plumbing issues that are substandard and not acceptable. There appears to have been quite a bit of work done without any permits and without any inspections, which means that those were probably done either by unlicensed people or in an unsafe manner. Either way, it's just simply illegal to do that in the city of Albuquerque. Also some substandard, even sinking flooring in at least one of the units, which indicates possible structural and foundation problems for the property. So this place had been let go and was in really bad shape. not suitable for anybody to be living in, and so we're going to make sure that it stays closed until all of those issues are fixed properly. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. And from the APD perspective, Commander Jose Sanchez.
Morning, everybody. I'm Commander Jose Sanchez, the Valley Area Commander. Again, I just want to reiterate what Mayor Caller said about the calls for service in the area. So we've been addressing some challenges in the area. We've had about 940 calls for service in a 2-block radius from this address, 30 calls specifically to this address that we've responded to. One example that I can give you as far as the partnerships and the work from all city departments is that recently on the west side there was another motel that was shut down because of code violations and just illicit activity. One of the females from that motel, she moved her illicit operations to this hotel, and with the great work from our detectives, they were able to investigate that female, ended up doing a search warrant on this property where they located 1,000 fentanyl pills. So it's really good work from APD and our detectives as well. I'll finish up by just briefly saying that to our community, our neighbors, that we hear you loud and clear on these issues. And with the great work from our partners, all departments, this is a result of those that communication, those partnerships. So thank you all. And Mayor, Chief of Staff, thank you for the support.
Thanks, Commander. Now, just want to reiterate the connection on trafficking, and this is also why, the neighbors Court John lives up to its name. That's exactly what folks have been saying for years, and that's why we had to put an end to this, in addition to the other issues that we found with respect to fire code. And so to speak to that, Marshal Garcia.
Good morning. Thank you for coming out today. Yesterday, the Albuquerque Fire Marshal's Office also was involved with code enforcement and APD here with inspections. We found multiple fire code violations concerning improper combustible waste storage, fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, and also I've said it before with the bow and arrow. This property actually a year ago today graduated from the ADAPT program. We put a lot of hours into this. And ADAPT is a program that was very successful that the mayor put in place years ago, and we've had a lot of success stories. This property graduated from the ADAPT program with 100% crime reduction, and that was just a year ago. So for them to be back here, it's pretty disappointing for me and my staff, all the man hours that we put here. Code enforcement did a great job, APD, ACS. But again, ADAPT is another program that you can consider like an option A that the city provides to business owners, that we educate and we work with business owners to try and bring crime down, and not just fire code violations, but we try and help owners. This property itself had a lot of success. They know what to do. In over a year's time, here we are, and we're back to this. So it's unfortunate, but it's just all these other properties out there, business owners, when we come in with ADAPT, please continue to do what you need to do to keep your crime down. Or this kind of is the end point if when it doesn't happen. So, thank you.
Now, as I mentioned, we were able to provide services and help for almost everyone who was living here. There was one person who declined. Everyone else took us up on the offer. And leading that charge to provide appropriate housing and assistance was our Deputy Director of our Community Safety Department, Walter Adams.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. My name is Walter Adams. I'm the Deputy Director of Field Operations for Albuquerque Community Safety. Yesterday, our teams came out and were able to make contact with 15 individuals, as Mayor said. 14 of those individuals took us up on our services. What we are identifying as individuals with mental health, and we're able to provide that ongoing support and connection and support at the time this is happening and also after this is happening as well. One of the individuals we came across was a 97-year-old veteran who we did connect with, who now we've connected to emergency housing, and that will be transitioned and be provided guidance and support that he's needed to be able to continue and stabilize housing. Thank you.
Okay, so I think actually Stacy's going to lead us in questions.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions? Go ahead, Sasha.
Under Sanchez or Mayor Keller, those 940 calls for service, 3 of them being here, what was the time span for that amount?
In the last year was the calls for service, and it was 30 that were at this specific address. The 900 number was within a 2-block radius and related to the area.
And going off of that, every time we've had this press conference, we talk about hopefully this drives crime down in the area and frees up manpower in the area. Have we seen those numbers adjust yet since we've closed several other properties?
I'll let, this would be Chief of Staff Mike Hernandez from APD.
Thank you for that question. Mayor Carroll, thank you for the opportunity to talk, and also for Chief Medina allowing me to talk to you guys today. As you guys know, this has been a key initiative from Mayor Keller's administration, but also with Chief Medina. As you know, through police activity and criminal activity in problem properties, we are going to shut them down. And that's a key thing, is as you heard earlier, a year ago they're in compliance. But that also should be a warning to other problem properties that we're continually monitoring each property, and we're at a proactive response to it. But to answer your question, the biggest thing is as we know in police activity is that, yes, crime has established here, but the individuals also go outside of this location and actually conduct their criminal activity. Now, it was the hard work of the Albuquerque Police Department and also the city workers that they were able to tie individuals that were residing here, that were causing the criminal activity, and tie it back to this location. So I think that's a true element of the communication within the department, not only with Albuquerque, but also within the city departments. So I think that's the biggest thing that we have been able to accomplish, to have reduction in crime. Like overall, we have a 50% decrease in homicides. We have a 30% decrease in property crimes and a 20% decrease in violent crimes. Those numbers are astronomical of what we're doing, but it's the hard work of not only the Albuquerque Police Department, but also the city departments that are working partnerships with us to accomplish these things. So, thank you.
Would it be right to say, just based off of what you said, crime in the area has gone down, but the crime is going somewhere else?
Well, that's the thing is we're making proactive responses to the outside. We understand that crime is going to expand once we take one problem property, but the biggest thing is we're continuing to proactively monitor the areas. And Commander Sanchez, who's the commander of here, we go through a process where every week we have all department divisions and commanders and executive staff within a meeting that talk about recent crimes, crime trends, and how we're going to respond to those. So I think that's why we're able to accomplish the great things that we have been accomplished this early part of the year.
Did you guys make any arrests or investigating any person specific, or did you guys just close this down?
So the biggest thing is we used our resources. We used our detectives to monitor drug trafficking here, but then we also had a police presence that were actively patrolling this area and making sure that individuals in this area and that are committing crimes are actually apprehended and taken to jail. So yes, we've used multiple sources to accomplish this goal.
I got a question. What's the current status with the property owner? Does he get another shot?
Alan, are you able to?
This is a great example of a property that I think the right person could have come in with the right intentions and really fix up to be a very nice Route 66 type hotel. And we're hoping that they do that. If they don't do that, it won't be reopening.
Would it be through the ADAPT program or something else that they would have to do?
No, it would not be through the ADAPT program. They graduated through the ADAPT program and then they immediately backslid. And so they have their chance at Approach A, which is the very friendly, very time-consuming approach that the city uses with a lot of resources and guidance and advice and hand-holding. We did that. They chose not to stay with the program, and so no, it won't. Now the regular rules come in for building safety and meeting all of the code requirements that are in the Uniform Administrative Codes. Okay.
Nick?
Director Burrell, has any previous properties that we've seen closed at these events, have they made an effort to get back up to code?
And it looks like at least one of the properties is making some efforts. They did get some other permits that they needed to do alterations, and but they have not yet received all the clearances in order to reopen. And one of the things all of you have to keep in mind is there are very strict zoning requirements for whether a hotel can convert into a long-term residential facility, an apartment. There are laws on the books. As the mayor was saying earlier, there are sanitation requirements. You can't be washing your dishes next to your toilet in your bathroom. You have to have a separate kitchen area. A hotel like this is simply not set up for that. So when they come back into operation, whoever does it is going to have to do it legally, either by converting the property and remodeling it entirely, or bringing it up to speed so it's run as a proper hotel.
All right, well, thank you all for coming out today. If you have follow-ups or we'll do some pull-asides, please connect with myself or with my colleague Tim Walsh from the Planning Department. Thank you.